What's going on? Welcome back. Welcome back. Actually, let me make sure that the audio is working good before I get to talking here, so I can make sure. Let's just make sure, right? What's going on, men of prestige, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back. Let's have some fun talking about this topic. Let's see here. All right, we'll sound good. We'll sound good. That's good. All right, let me just get rid of this. All right, awesome. We're good to go. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. I'm just gonna make sure I pin just in case anybody drops in, and I'm just gonna be live taping here essentially. Let me just make sure I put the link over there just in case. Just never know, right? Today we're talking about 35 and single. 35 and single. That's what we're talking about. So let's have some fun with that. If you're 35, you're single, you waited for the right time, you know, or you're trying to wait for the right time, right? Let's talk about is that really a smart idea, right? Well, let me say, is that really a wise idea? Right? Is that really a wise idea to be 35, single, and be waiting until you're 35, either you're a man or you're a woman? Is that really smart? What do you guys think? Now, there's a lot of rhetorics out there. As a matter of fact, I'm going to play a video here in a second. Okay, there you go. Let me see. Calling. Let me make sure I put the right thing there. So I got some time today. I wanted to just come here and chop it up and just talk from the heart. Okay. There you go. Awesome. And talk about this topic and see if we can, had some insights to this topic. There's a lot of men suggesting to themselves or advising themselves to wait till 35 before they get married. And they have a lot of, it's a lot of good points there. But I wanted to go through this 10 other points and see if I could also shed some light on some other aspects of life, some other perspective that maybe we're not thinking about. I would acknowledge that, okay, from a logical standpoint, quote unquote logical, right? Some things may align, with the idea of waiting till you're 35. Maybe it's a good idea. Maybe, I can't all the way I can't all the way say there's some sense to it, right? Nonetheless, we should talk about this, right? We should definitely talk about this. Should you wait till you're 35? Now, there are circumstances in life that will make people get to that point, natural delays of life. Sometimes people have been married before and they get divorced. But I'm particularly talking today about people that deliberately plan to wait till they're 35, quote unquote, because they're a man. And then they say the woman should just get married at 21, 22, right? The idea is that a man is in his prime between 35 and 45. So there's a video here that I want us to review today. What's going on, Just Jay? How are you, lady? Good to see you again. So yeah, there's a video here that I want us to review about this, and I think we're gonna get some. We're going to rub minds together and see. Maybe we can come up with a little bit better of insights rather than just straight up everyone should wait, right? I personally, let me just tell you right now, I think it's a bad idea. But please, just allow me, right? Let's get through it. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong, right? I could be wrong, but let me make my case. I think it's a terrible idea to be asking people to deliberately plan to wait till 35. It almost sounds like you're going to be 35 and then you're going to snap your finger and then a man or a woman will drop out of the skies. Is that really how that works? Is that how that works? I don't think so. I don't think that's how it works. I think what's probably going to happen is that you're going to realize that it wasn't deliberate all the while. It's just circumstances of life, right? And then you found out suddenly that maybe I don't necessarily have this power that I am claiming to have. I could just be intentional, deliberate, and wait until 35, and suddenly I'm going to snap my fingers and a good woman, submissive, feminine, fit, friendly, inspirational, will just fall out of the skies, right? What we're finding is that a lot of people are deceiving themselves, right? That's what we're finding out. At least that's what the results are saying. Because then they get to 35, then it's 38, and then there's 40, and it's like, yeah. And then eventually, you know what they're going to say next, right? All right, so yeah, we're going to watch this guy's video. I think he had some interesting things to say. But there's a good chance I'm about to disagree with 70%. See, the name of the video is Take Advantage of Your Prime Years, 35 to 45. And then, a red pill. Yeah. So let's talk about this video. Let me just turn up the music really quickly. And then we'll take it from there. All right. So what's going on with you, Just Jay? I haven't seen you on the streets in a minute. Not here in particular, but on the other panels and stuff.
Most of the girls I date are under 25.
All right, so
SMV value in your
let's talk about
as a man over 30. You should be taking advantage of your sexual marketplace value, otherwise known as SMV value, in your 30s and 40s and even your 50s while you are still in your prime. Because as I've been teaching,
so he didn't say anything wrong, as long as you never plan to get married, right? If you've never really if you've never really been that person who really cares for marriage, he didn't say anything wrong, right? Marriage is not for everyone. And not everyone. There's a minority out there, a small minority that could care less about marriage, and they've always been that way. It's not because they've gone through some bad experience with women. It's not because they've gone through some bad experience with men. They just are in that. They've never really, liked the idea, So let's just So there's nothing really wrong with what he said so far. So let's keep going here, right?
You guys, a man's prime, okay, the time you're going to hit your prime is in your mid-30s to your mid-40s, okay?
So now when you say prime, with respect to what? Okay, I guess about to say it. Sexual market value. Sexual marketplace value, the SMV, right? The big O SMV. Now, the sexual market value, is that a thing? Yes, of course. See, this is my rules. Once you make it a thing, it becomes a thing. It never really had to be a thing in the first place. Okay? Once you say it's a thing, right? Once you start making it a talking point, I literally agree with you instantly. And I say, yes, you're right. That is a thing. There is a sexual marketplace value. At the minimum, just because you're saying it. But beyond that, yes, there are certain things, certain attributes that when you look at 8, 9 women out of 10, they will say, yes, we like that, right? And one of them, yes, is that a man in his 30s, yes, tend to be, even if he was always butt ugly in high school, he improves taking care of himself, and then it's a little bit more attractive to ladies of all ages, right? When you're in your 30s, a lot more than you've ever experienced in your life. So a lot of men will be in their early 20s and, they don't get that attention unless they are extra dramatic and they know how to, they're charismatic, extra charismatic. But on an average, most people are still trying to figure on, unlike the women, that they've been getting all this attention. So there's a lot of truth to that. We can't deny that. So the sexual marketplace value, if we were to just put you on countertops at Walmart, like a regular product, yes, that would be a thing, especially that you've made it a talking point right now. So he has a point there. Let's keep going.
Make no mistake about it. Your prime as a man is between 35 and 45. And I've mentioned this over and over. I've seen a lot of guys.
So your prime as a man between 35 and 45. So let me guess. This is with respect to what women want, right? So again, you're making your whole life about women and you wonder why you're struggling, right? There's nobody in the history of mankind that made their life about women that they eventually get destroyed prematurely, long before the actual time. So as much as you want to claim you don't care, I'm hearing that you care way too much, and you're basically as much as you want to claim you don't put women on pedestal, your actions is literally doing that. Why are we talking about sexual marketplace value with respect to what? Who's valuing it? Women. Why is that a big old talking point? Why is like a big topic in your life? It's because you've put women on pedestal with your actions. Yes, you're not going to admit it with your mouth, but actions speak louder than words.
Well into their 50s, still crushing it, still kicking ass.
So never mind multiplying, never mind building an empire, a family structure. Let's just go 30, 40 into our 50s. Why? Just because women, right? I know you don't want to admit it, but that's the reality, right? That's why I created Men of Prestige, because I need to point out some things for you that you may not be paying attention to. Why? Because you're logical. There's other aspects of life, There's your emotions. There's your mouth running faster than your brain. And you don't realize that you're literally putting yourself on blast more than half the time.
And still very much in their prime, still hanging on to it. The problem is
now, I've never stumbled into this guy before, but it looks like it's a Red Pill channel. It's called the 33 Secrets. He has 253,000 subscribers. So somebody is relating with what he's saying. He's making a lot of sense to a lot of people. And I have to acknowledge that, right? Whatever it is, there's some kind of pain that is able to tap into, that is able to connect with, and quite a lot of people are following and agreeing with him, even if whatever his solution is not realistic or useful in real life. But nonetheless, I have to acknowledge that. I have to respect that. But that's why I have these conversations, because maybe I can bring a different perspective to it and let you see some things that you can't see, that he may not be able to see, because I can predict where this is going. I've never stumbled into this guy before, but I could pretty much see where this is going. And that's what I want you to know, that you become extremely obvious when it gets down to it. When you start talking, after 2 sentences, anybody who knows what they're doing, that have been around, that have any level of wisdom, will see exactly where you're going, right? And women may not know exactly where you're going, but they can smell it. They can feel the energy, and it's usually wrong. So into your 30s, 50s, 40s, yes, the looks are going to help you, because you're a gentleman, you're a fine man, especially if you like to dress up like myself, wear suits and ties and stuff, right? If you're that kind of guy, you're going to be attracted to women. But it's one thing to be attracted to women, is another thing to know how to keep a relationship. How much more getting to the point where you can actually build a family structure and multiply. That's where the struggle will come in, because you're going to need a lot more than looks and money beyond that point. But here we go. He has 91,000 views on this, right? Hey, by the way, I appreciate all 20 views on my last live session. All of you, thank you so much. All right. I still need your help. So please make sure you're watching more than 2 or 3 videos on this platform per week. And that will help us a lot more than the like buttons. I appreciate the like buttons too, but just so you know, the engagement matters more than the actual watching of the videos. Okay. And I guarantee you there's some value in the videos for you. Okay, so
a lot of guys who are over 30 do not understand this. Okay, a lot of these guys who are over 30 have been misled by the blue pill matrix.
Oh, here we go. See, I knew it. The blue pill matrix. A lot of guys has been misled by the blue pill matrix. He's the guy that's going to save them from the blue pill matrix, right? So now let's unpack this really quickly. We're talking about 35 and single, okay? And I'm going to give you my points and what I think about 35 and single, whether you're a man or woman. I'm going to tell you in a little bit here. Contrary to, to what Kevin Samuel says, that they are leftovers, I don't think you're a leftover. I think that's a state of mind. Because number one, there's a lot of circumstances that anyone could be single after 35. But I think there are some things you should pay attention to. And that's what I'm going to talk about. But anyway, this guy is going to save people from the blue pill matrix. Okay. If you really want to know who is blue pill, right, based on their own, not their logic, but based on their own actual definition of red and blue pill, it's the people that talk the most about it. Okay, they bought into the fantasies, and they continue to buy into it because they can't stop talking about it. Right? See, the idea of red pill, from the original sense of it, is that you see reality, you just accept it. You say this is reality. You don't waste your energy trying to change it because you see it for what it is, right? But when people talk so much, it's telltale signs that they're trying to change it. That's literally still living in fantasy land. There's nothing more blue pill than that, based on the original definition from the analogy that was extracted out of the Matrix movie. It's the idea of trying to change it. right? Never mind what your reasons. I want to change it because our society. Usually, we can tell it's a lie. You're trying to. You hate the reality. You hate the fact that reality is not exactly as pleasant as the movies had made you believe, and you're still trying to change it. So the reality is that a lot of men, they don't. A lot of men, those men, they bought into a matrix, but you're still trying to change them. See, you always think it's about women, but it's not just about women. It's about the idea that you don't know how to face reality for what it is. There's a reason why a lot of men are like that. They're in their prime, but they choose to see a bigger perspective to life. Maybe they want to settle, they want to have a family because everything gets old. I'm gonna keep referencing it. I was just listening to AMS, Alpha Male Strategy, saying everything literally gets old. Going to the club, picking up ladies, sleeping with 10, 20 women per week, that gets old. So the reality is that men, they don't want to do that. You've always fantasized about doing that. Clearly, you couldn't do that in high school or in your early 20s. So now you're going crazy because you look better. A lot of women are throwing themselves at you in the gym at the age of 35 with all those muscles, and you're reliving all those years. But you just want to sell this idea to everyone else. You want to sell this fantasy to everyone else. There's nothing more blue pill than that. But anyway, let's keep going.
And by the feminist machine to believe that men and women are exactly the same. Because women lose their social value after the age of 30, so do men. Because men and
All right, sorry about that. We're back in. I don't know. Let me share the screen back again. Let's keep going. All right. And let's hope that all is well there. You can hear me now, hopefully. Let's see. Let me refresh this. Let's see. All right, we're back on. We're back on. Let me keep playing that.
if you think that. And damaged goods too, and it's like, no, you don't understand. Like haters commenting, saying the same shit. It's like, and I even get a lot of like haters commenting, saying the same shit. It's like, oh, if you're saying women over 30 are damaged goods, then you're damaged goods too, and it's like, no, you don't understand male to female sexual interdynamics, obviously, if you think that. And
so he's saying men and women are different. I agree with that. They're different. But when you say things like, what was the statement you just made? Let me replay that. Right?
Sexual interdynamic. And it's like, no, you're saying women over 30 are damaged goods.
So clearly he says women over 30 are damaged goods. If you say things like that out of your mouth, he says more about you than whatever fact you're trying to state, right? We all become, the older we get. I get it that you're trying to focus on women. I don't know why, but I think I know why. But anyway, the focus is women. They become damaged goods at 30, right? The older we all get, we become like everything gets old. Remember, everything literally gets old. So, why do we have to separate women? Oh, why? Because we must call Allah out for pandering. Okay, got it. All right, let's keep going.
Then you're damaged goods too, and it's like, no, you don't understand male to female sexual interdynamics, obviously, if you think that. And too many guys over 30 who are not aware of this red pill knowledge are still walking around out there with those false blue pill ideas, thinking that, the party.
Not everyone deserves a mic. Some people really should not have a microphone, right? A lot of people, they don't process this thing very well, and they just run out there, start a YouTube channel, and the problem is that there's some truth to the fact that a lot of men are struggling, so they gravitate towards it and they just start like booty clapping for each other, and then obviously they grow big because they're all booty clapping for each other's pain and stuff, right? I'm not shaming you, I'm just telling you the reality. The reality is that you had some experiences and you haven't really processed it and gone through some healing that is absolutely necessary for you to get on the other side. See, an average man is not going to be the 33 secrets like this guy. They're not going to be able to start a YouTube channel. An average YouTube channel is like mine or less, okay? 20 views or less views per video. That's the reality, right? And once in a while you find somebody that blows up like this and they're saying all of this stuff, right? Extreme polarized, extremely inaccurate, and of course everyone gravitate towards it, right? So now he knows the people in the blue pill. All those other men are wrong, he's right. Right? Never mind the reality that created those type of men, right? No, we're just going to pretend those reality do not exist. We're just going to try to change them. That right there, by its very definition, is blue pill. Because the idea of red pill is you see reality, truth, right? You see results that's been created, by time and how people move in society. And you just acknowledge it first, at least even before you try to change it. Acknowledge it that it's neither right nor wrong. It's just what it is. If I don't hear enough, it is what it is from you, you're extremely blue pill. Because you're living la la land. You're trying to change the world into this new awareness that you found. And it's no wonder why you take it to your relationships with women. You try to change them as well. And then you wonder why it doesn't work. Right? Anyway, let's keep going here.
It's over for them, thinking that, oh, I'm over 30, I'm too old, and I don't know how many of these guys like find my channel for the first time going,
if a man thinks he's too old, he doesn't want to be out in the street, what makes you think you know better? So you know better than how he feels inside of himself. Again, fantasy, the hypocrisy. I want you to pay attention to the hypocrisy. Maybe not necessarily deliberate, because I don't think this guy knows any better. This video was released when? Let me see. This video was released. I can't tell. Let me see if I can see that information real quickly. This video, because I'm trying to see, because you never know. This person could have grown beyond this rhetoric here. I can't tell. Where's the date? Let me see here. It's here somewhere. The date should be here somewhere. Let me see. 2 years ago, I guess. It was about 2 years ago, right? And it's training people, okay? So it's training people. All right, good. It's coaching people. All right, let's keep going.
Hey, I'm 32. Aren't I a little old to be dating someone who's like 25? I'm like, oh.
So that means how they feel does not align with your ideology. That's why they call it ideologies, right? How they feel does not align with it, right? 32, 35, typical 32, 35 man really wants to have settled down. Yes, there are some exceptions. They're like, nah, why should I settle down? I want to be 54 and rolling through the street. Yeah, there's some exceptions like that. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about majority of people. Now, you're trying to change it and say, no, they've been watching too much movies. They need to run through the streets. Right? Anyway, let's keep going. I'm not going to finish this video, but I have an idea of where it's going, because I do have some things I want to share with you if you're 35 and single, so you can know that you're not left over. I don't care if you're a man or a woman, and you're not wrong for feeling how you feel inside. If what you want to do is build a family structure, you're not wrong, right? And yeah, you might have had some bad experiences in the past that kind of make you want to relate with quote unquote a red pill guy, right, who is really blue pill in the reality of things, right? You may find some things that you could relate with, but you want to be careful, because you're a human being and you have your spiritual, right? You have emotions, you're a function of so many things: your background, how you were raised, your culture, your belief system, right? And you don't have to conform with everyone else, right? Just because you could relate with one or two things. It's okay to agree with them in certain things, and it's okay to say, nah, that doesn't fit. That doesn't fit how I feel. Like, no, I don't feel like I should be 39 years old running through the streets without children, when that's really what I want. Like, it's different if you don't want that. But if you've always wanted that, like an average man at the age of 22, 23, thought about maybe 10 years from now, I have a little boy that's walking into the house with me, right? What, that's blue pill too? All right.
Oh my God, dude, are you serious? I'm like, I'm way older than you. I mean, 25, dating a 25-year-old for me, that's like, she's about to hit the wall in my book.
So it's pretty normal for a 35-year-old to find it a little weird to date anything below 25, right? As in date, as in publicly. Of course, they will sleep with anything as low as 18, right? And God forbid, do something illegal below 18, right? But in terms of like being able to be seen in public with your own girlfriend, your own wife, most people want something close enough where they don't have to. Everyone care about what they look like on the outside. Everyone, including yourself. That's why you're so gung-ho on proving to people that you're red pill. You care about what people see. That's why you want to be so masculine, punch everyone in the face, right? Because you care about what everyone sees. That's your actions speak louder than your words, right? So everyone cares about what they look like on the outside. So it's pretty normal for a 39-year-old guy to find it a little weird to be dating 24. That's the norm. It's not neither right nor wrong. I'm just saying that's a normal guy. There's nothing wrong with that. You're pretty going in the direction of abnormal. Whatever experience you've had, you've now discovered the awareness and you feel like, no, I must be 54 and be okay with dating 18. There's a lot of downsides to that. It's not wrong, but there's downsides to it. And if you're going to act and pretend like there's no downside to it, you have something else coming for you, right? You have something else coming from you. It's not that simple. Insecurities will take you over. Because why? Because you're a human like the rest of us, right? If she's on the phone just for 5 minutes longer than she needs to be, you're going to lose your mind. Yeah. No, but then she just got to be out of my house. It's not that simple. Remember your blue pill in reality, right? I'm sorry for calling the cab, but I'm just saying, right? The reason why you're so gung-ho on all these ideologies and you can't just be aware of reality and say, it is what it is, right? I'm just going to learn how to navigate life. It is what it is. I'm going to learn how to navigate life. I'm not trying to change life into my fantasies. No matter what that fantasy or what end of the reality that fantasy lies in. Any extreme is fantasy. Life is never extreme. Everything is in between. It's all kind of colors in between. It's never black and white. That's the reality. You have a problem with that reality, you're literally blue pill based on your definitions.
Right? I'm like, most of the girls I date are under 25, and I get these girls no problem. Now, does this mean that every young girl you meet out there is going to be like, oh, yeah.
You get these girls no problem. Wait, how come they're not sticking? Oh, you don't want them to stick. I just want to run through the streets. Again, there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want to do. But you need to, again, if you're really as red pill as you think you are, you're supposed to see that reality for what it is and not trying to change other men who are saying, you know what? No, I want a family structure. I want to build a family. I want to literally cuddle at 7 o'clock in the middle of the evening. I don't want to be running through the clubs looking for someone to cuddle with only once every 2 months. Because that's going to be the reality. Reality is not going to be like, oh yeah, I'm just this pickup artist. I'm picking up every girl. The reality for an average guy is that they're going to end up frustrated, sexually frustrated. All right. Now, is that the reason why they must settle? That's a bad reason to settle too. I'm just saying, normal people, they actually don't mind. They don't mind the idea of finding a queen, their own personal queen, and cuddling at night. They don't mind. Why should that be your own headache to take Panadol, or what do you guys call it here? What's the name here? Right? Paracetamol. What's the other name here? Tylenol. To take Tylenol. Why should you be taking Tylenol for other people's headache when they're not complaining? Oh, they're complaining to you, so you want to help them. Okay, I get it. But it's completely inaccurate. It's not gonna work. People are people. They are the way they are. If they are harming themselves, then of course you can offer some help, right? But this doesn't sound right, and that's why a lot of those 30-year-old men, I see you're frustrated. You're trying to help them. That's why they're not agreeing with you. They're saying no. Like I agree. These hoes, they need to they need to calm down. But I still don't feel like calling them hoes though. They don't. It doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right to an average dude. That's the reality, right? And if everyone in your echo chamber is calling women hoes, or 304s, I should say, right? That's it's an echo chamber. Get the point? That's the point. It's an echo chamber. Everyone is basically thinking the same way. There's no growth in such environment because they can't hold themselves accountable. If anybody attempts to hold them accountable, they call him or her pandering. Right? There's no growth there. There's no internal growth. I mean, of course, there's growth on YouTube channel growth, viewership, watch time, engagement, heavy, big money, right? Lamborghinis and all that, right? All from YouTube money. That's understandable. That's what you call polarized views. If you understand anything about marketing, polarized views will do exactly that. If it's toxic enough, it will grow fast enough. Unless it tampers with YouTube's legalities, you will keep growing. That's just how it works. That's part of reality that I have to accept. I don't align with being toxic, so I'm not going to do that just because I want to grow, right? Or maybe I can't, whatever the reason is. That's not who I am, right? But that's how life works. These are some of the things I want you to face as man. Being able to see something as what it is and stop trying to change it and calling it you want to save the society. You're not saving the society. You're hurting. And you refuse to go through the proper healings. And maybe 0.001 of you will end up on the internet and blow up, right? And then you will breed more toxic people. It's not going to help because your daughter, the one that you end up paying child support for running through the streets, will end up in the hands of one of these dudes. And it's not going to be good. Everything that goes around comes around. One way or the other, one shape, form or the other, it comes back around. Because if no one feels safe in this society, none of us are safe, right? If a few people don't feel safe, then none of us are really safe, right? Just have that at the back of your mind when you're spewing out all this rhetoric just because you want to feel good about yourself.
Looking for an older guy? No, because there are a lot of stupid, immature young women out there, unfortunately, especially, here in the States, here in the Western world, they're just really immature. They're raised by MTV. So, a lot of these girls tend to date guys,
So anyway, for those of you black men like myself and you feel like this is just a black people problem, there you have it. That's another white guy complaining about women. And it is what it is. That's just where we find ourselves as a society. Women are not going to fix it. We are going to have to fix this. Okay? We're going to have to fix it. And you cannot in the same breath engage power and be complaining. Like playing victim and power, they don't work together. It's just not going to work. What's going to work is some of us will continue to do what we do. One person at a time will say, no, your power lies inside, not on the outside. Right? You're not going to forcefully change a group of people to be something that they're not. Now, what you can do is you can influence them. That takes patience, and there is strength in patience, right? There's absolute strength in patience. So with that being said, what I want to do right now is I want to go into some of the points that I have for you. If you're 35 and you're single and you think you're supposed to wait because you want to get your bag, right? There's a few points I want to get through that I think a lot of things that they say. First of all, if you're a lady and you really, this affects you, Kevin Samuel says 35 and over or leftovers. I think it's being taken out of context. I think it's being taken out of context. But you're not leftovers. There's circumstances in life, and you could be 35 and single. It's not necessarily your fault. It could be your fault. It doesn't matter. It's in the past right now. If you're still alive, there are things you can do to achieve success, to achieve joy, to achieve what you want, even in a romantic relationship. Because when you start thinking about this and you start overly processing it, it can actually become your reality. So you want to be careful with that. But I think it was taken out of context. Context matters in everything, right? And I listened to Kevin enough. I didn't listen to him a lot, but I listened to him enough that I know he was probably taken out of context. And that's the problem with a bunch of young men, 15, 16, 17, 21 years old, running around and repeating the same talking points out of context. And that's happening. Let's not cap. That is happening. And that's my fear about a lot of this quote unquote gurus who want to help, but they're creating more problems by making all this money on YouTube. And I can't judge them because it's business at the end of the day, right? You're responsible for your own mental health. Seek therapy if you need to do that. If something doesn't align with you, don't force yourself to be toxic, because you may just be listening to stuff out of context. Anyway, number 2, get your bag first. Well, like I said earlier, just like looks and bags, the bag, as in money, right? And looks can only go so far. It will help you attract a lot of women, yes. And yes, you probably have a better chance of having better looks and bigger bags at 35, but you will have a lot of, you will end up with a lot of women, and you won't be able to keep them. And you know you want to keep them. You want your queen who falls in love with you and never wants to leave you. Stop the cap. But you're going to have a problem retaining that if you follow this rhetoric, right? There's nothing wrong with the bag, but you should be getting bag for you, not because you want to get women, because that's going to backfire, right? Then also the idea that you could just, at 35, you're ready and you're better off than somebody who got married at 25. That's false. You're starting at ground zero. That person that got married at 25, 26, they got married. They will go through some growth. They will grow together with whoever they married. The largest, biggest, most impactful growth you're going to experience in life is inside of marriage, guaranteed, right? Because you're being forced to live with another person, and if you live by yourself, you're not being tested. You're not going through pressure. So it's not the same level of growth. You can read all the books you want, but unless you're in it, you're not going to learn. So when you're 35 and you marry, or you're 55, you marry, you're literally starting at ground zero like everyone else. Keep that at the back of your mind. Then also your tolerance level is what you would call boundaries. People will confuse tolerance levels with boundaries. The older they get, they discover the awareness. The awareness of truth is not always a good thing, no matter what anyone tells you. There's some truth that you will hear, right? There's some truth you will hear that you will just be like, damn, I wish I didn't know that. That's the reality. So this idea that always knowing the truth is always best for you, that's not true. That's not true. See, that's not true, right? Everything is subjective, right? There's some truth that is better left the way they are, concealed forever, right? And it makes the society context things better, right? And there's some truth you should know, right? But this idea that absolutely every time you discover a truth or you're aware about truth and it's better for you, that's not necessarily true. That's not necessarily true. There are tons of examples that I'll tell you, like, you just don't want to know that. You don't, like, you're like, why'd you tell me that? Like, you don't want to know, like, you're 45 and somebody is, and there are 3 boys running through your daughter. You want to know that truth? Is that really a truth you want to know? Or you would rather, like, I never know that part. Like, I'm just happy that my daughter is 20 years later and she's having a good time in a home family, right? So again, stop deceiving yourself about this idea that I discover all the truth and I needed to know. No, that's not reality, right? That's not reality. That's not what you want to know. The other thing here, number 5, is guards versus vulnerability. Love experience, the in-love experience needs you to be vulnerable. Like, I know that the disappointment for a lot of men is that they fell in love with a girl and the girl dumped them. It happens. It's reality, right? And for some people, you need healing and therapy and stuff like that to get through that. Some people are like, it's not a big deal. For someone like me, it's not a big deal. Good riddance to bad rubbish. It was natural to feel that way. I get it that it's not always like that for everyone, right? But it doesn't change the fact. So when you get older and you get older as a single person, you build more guards up. Why? Because you're discovering. You're learning more about life. You're learning way too much than you need in order to be vulnerable in a healthy way, in order to nurture the in-love experience, the romance that glues people together when they don't need to be all cerebral or logical. They just want to cuddle in the evening, right? But then you're cuddling and then she picks up a phone and then you're losing your mind because, there's all this guards up because you decided you want to get with an 18-year-old girl at the age of 54. The older you get, you build guards up. It's natural. It is what it is, right? So I don't think it's a good idea to be waiting too long, deliberately planning to wait long before you get married. I think you're building structure around yourself that will cave in on you and kill you in the process. Instead, I would advise that 25 years is more than enough for you to prepare. All the preparations you're going to get for marriage is good. 25 years old is good enough. If you find your queen, you lock it in, and then you're going to build an empire together, family structure together. But all that, what happens if she divorces me at 25? Okay, you tell me what happens. What happens if you divorce you at 25? You're going to lose your mind too? Because life happens. I'm not guaranteeing you that shit can't happen. Shit can happen, of course. But I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about you finding your queen and falling in love, and then she falls in love with you and you're able to call her at 7 p.m. at night when the babies run around. Like that thing you dreamt about. Not only did you dream about it, you saw your parents, you saw other people's parents at least do it, right? You at least saw it on TV. And somebody told you, that's just the blue matrix. Don't believe in that. Really? Really? Is blue matrix to want to build a family and multiply? No, it's not. That's too much talk. That's a person that talks too much. Okay, it's a stretch, essentially, at best. Okay, so vulnerability is necessary in every aspect of life. You just trust. Sometimes you just have to trust. The idea of trust means you don't know everything, but you're willing to trust. It gives you better experiences in life, right? And yes, sometimes it gives you bad experience. I'm not guaranteeing you that you won't have some bad experience. You trust a person and they betrayed you. That's all part of of life experience. But I'm telling you that there's a lot of good in it, as much 10 times more than the bad experiences that you're hearing in the echo chamber. And you're stealing yourself of joy when you soak yourself, immerse yourself in an echo chamber where all they talk about is all the negative things that happen in marriages. All right. So number 6 here, time versus options. You're giving yourself time and you have this illusion of options because yes, with time, it almost seems like you're getting more options. All these people are coming at you, right? But the truth is that time waits for no one. You're losing time. Time is life. You're losing time. That's the reality. I don't care if you're a man or you're a woman. Your prime is 35 to 45. Dude, what happened to the previous 25 years before that? That could have been a 15-year-old little boy, a 15-year-old little girl that's also building their life, and you're happy to see them a product of yourself beyond just money and bags, right? Running around, right? And now you're able to pour into other people. If you've never had that experience, don't steal yourself of the chances of having such experience. It's a beautiful experience. But you're just going to wait till 45, 50 and then have babies. And then at the age of 65, you're walking a little boy to go play soccer. Is that really what you want? If that's what you want, there's nothing wrong with it. I'm just painting a picture for you here, just so you know the reality, right? So you don't have time. You may have options, but you don't have time for the things that actually matter in life. Everything gets old. The only thing that never really gets old is legacy. Think about that. All right. So number 7, are you suddenly ready for marriage just for waiting till 35 years old? I already answered that. No, you're starting from ground zero. Whatever age, you're starting from ground zero. Okay. You're starting from ground zero. It has nothing to do with the bag, has nothing to do with your looks. The looks and the bag can attract girls, to attract the wrong type of girls if that's all you've got. Okay. And you expose yourself to more people that will betray you. Because again, remember, you're really blue pill. Because you have a hard time facing reality. And then you're still going to get disappointed, right? Alpha Male Strategy told a story on the roommate. He told a story about, he used to talk that way until one day, out of all these different girls, there was this one girl that, that she lost that girl and it really hurt. There's that one girl that's going to come in your life because you're human like the rest of us. Stop the cap, right? Now, why does this all sound familiar? I actually meant to say familiar. Why does this sound familiar? Because it was the women that used to say things like this. I'm just going to wait until 35, live your life. There's women that used to say things like that. But we're playing equality. We're buying into equality effectively, right? You're buying into the equality thing. You want to match and play match up with them too, and then us two can do. Why are you doing that to yourself? Every time you compete and you compare yourself with women, you go underneath a woman, not equal. There's no such thing. You go right underneath the woman. Okay. This sounds familiar. The idea of a man waiting till 35. It sounds familiar because women used to say things like this. They still do. We used to hear things from this like this from women. We're like, yeah, whatever, right? Oh yeah, things like I'm single by choice. That's men should not be talking like that. If you're single by circumstances, it's understandable. But you have to be able to face reality and say, you know what, maybe there's something I can learn. Maybe there's something that's missing. Maybe I can listen to somebody that has been able to pull it off. They got married and let me see how they did it, right? Uh, Arrogance, pride comes before the fall. Yeah, pride is 100% destructive. I tell you, okay? So things like this. Number 9, single by choice. There's no such thing. If you say that out loud, it's a lie. It's cap. I don't care if somebody asks you. There's nobody that's single by choice. If they're single by choice, they're definitely not on no panels talking about marriage. They're not interested, remember? They're indifferent about it. They don't really care. They don't have to prove a point, right? And they do exist, right? So, yeah, absolutely is true. You're going to have better looks as a man, the older you get, from 35 to 45. But again, things like that get old, You get attention, your full facial hair, you can have the beard gang. You look fresh, clean, tall, dark, and handsome, right? In the gym, you're pumping those weights. Of course, you get attention, but would that help? Like, why are you concerned about that? Are you a little girl? You need attention that bad? So what's the solution here? Plan for between 25 and 30. If you're below 25 and 30, 25 years is more than enough for you to prepare for marriage. All the preparations you're going to get, you already got it. Okay, there's going to be some lessons you're going to learn. You're going to grow. There's going to be some trouble times, but your best growth is going to come from marriage. If you want marriage, I'm talking to only people that want marriage. Avoiding marriage is useless, because it's like life. It's like avoiding your own shadow, right? You still have to deal with these things, just much later, right? That's why I said the ground zero starts whenever you're ready to start. Okay. But when you have someone in your corner and you subscribe to the idea of marriage, it's helpful, especially if you do it the right way, because there is a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it. I'm talking about marriage, right? College, university, that's when you should be meeting your girl, your queen. Okay. You grow together. You help each other out. You fight each other sometimes. You argue with each other sometimes, but you grow through it together because you're not arrogant. You ask questions. You have elders in your life you can talk to about issues, and it can help you understand women. How are you going to understand women picking and dumping women, running through women? You're not going to understand anything, not even sex. You don't even understand sex. That's a lot of people get married. They're not able to satisfy their woman because they've just always pump and dump. Because they think it's about numbers. They think it's about quantity. Right? So that's if you are below 25 and somebody told you just wait to 35. Yeah, that's a bad idea. Don't. Now, I understand you may have experienced some things. Maybe some girl dumped you in high school and you're like, that's a better idea. I'd rather just run through this woman. Hey, knock yourself out, but the idea you're going to escape the consequences of avoiding reality. No, you can avoid reality all you want. You cannot avoid the consequences of avoiding reality. Okay. Now, if you're already above 30, right? Circumstantial delay. Don't lie to yourself, please. Don't lie. Don't say things like single by choice. Again, you're not acknowledging reality. That's creating more problem for you. You're digging a rabbit hole for yourself. It's spiritual. Like your brain will go in the direction of lying to yourself even further, because every time you lie to yourself, you have to keep lying to maintain the lie. It's not a good thing to do, right? The results are terrible. Okay. Acknowledge that first of all. Circumstantial delay. I didn't pay attention to whatever it is. But anyway, I didn't really want to be here at 33 and not married. Acknowledge that first, okay? But you need coaching, okay? You're a single man at 30. You're going to bring selfishness into that situation. It's just natural. It's not because you mean to do that. It's because you're comfortable. You're comfortable in certain ways, and you're gonna bring that into a relationship where you're supposed to be vulnerable. You bring all these bad experiences, or you bring even sometimes good experience. You're trying to compare your woman with your ex-girlfriend. That's going to result in all kind of terrible results. You need coaching, you need counseling, you need therapy. Even people before that need that. They like people that are below 25, they need that as well. But especially you, right? Because again, remember what I said about you've built all these ideologies and you're going to cave yourself inside. You've built all this quote unquote boundaries, but they're not really boundaries. They're not healthy boundaries. You build these walls around yourself because you're trying to protect yourself. You know way too much about life. So naturally, you're trying to protect yourself. You think every woman is out to get you. Every woman wants to hurt you. That's how your brain thinks. It's not necessarily your fault. It's just the natural order of things when you wait too long. Maybe not necessarily by choice, like I was saying, right? But the reality is that you're 35, you're 40, you're 45, you're 50, and you're single, especially never been married. Oh yeah. Do not approach marriage. Do not come close to marriage unless you engage proper, good, wise counsel, coaching, and or therapy. Okay? They will help you unpack some things that it's good for you right now, but it's going to absolutely destroy anything you start in terms of marriage. Okay? And you're going to be like, I'm a good guy. I'm just a good guy. And then life is going to remind you that being a good person is not good enough. There are skill sets involved. There are game. It's a game. Okay? You have to learn game. Okay? And that's the way these things work. And I just wanted to share that with you really quickly and let you know that there are options for you, okay, because you're still here and you can learn, right? It's gonna be like pulling teeth, right? But you can still learn. Absolutely, you can learn. There's some good things, okay, that you can learn. And if you don't agree with me, whenever you don't agree with reality, again, shout out to you. Thank you for coming by. I'm ending this session right now. But when you don't agree with reality, not me, you don't have to agree with me ever. But when you avoid reality, this is what's going to happen to you. Watch this small clip before you leave. I'll see you on the next one, and peace.
Hey! 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 Yo! With me, nigga! Fuck wrong with you, nigga? Come on! Where my glasses? Get off of me before I drop your goofy ass again. Now beat that, bitch ass nigga. Pay for this shit. Hurry up.
No,
Pay for that shit and hurry up before I drop your ass again. Touch me, get on the drop.
Stop video before they help me. You got my key.
Nobody
help you.
No, come on.